Hello and welcome to our newest offering on Family History Project. We call it Family History Project Magazine. I'm Doug Adams and my co-host is
Michael Middleton.
What are we doing, Michael?
We are sharing our knowledge and genealogy and family history through different video segments.
Cool. That'll be fun. First and foremost, every month on Family History Project Facebook page, we celebrate the life of an ancestor, a descendant, a sibling, a mother, a father. And this month we're very, very proud to be able to celebrate the life of
My great uncle Thomas Lanio Gurlt, 1907 to 1983.
And what do you remember about Uncle Tom?
He was a really nice guy. He was funny.
Do you know the rumor about him, right? That occasionally, very rarely, he liked the taste of the liquor.
A lot.
He's pretty much what he was known for in Morgan County. But he was sweet. He was lovable. He loved having kids around him until he was over having kids around him. Then he'd give you $20 to get you to go away.
Right. Get out of here. Go away.
Yeah. He spent his life mostly working in timber with my grandpa, Charles Estel Simmons, and other people.
I think he worked with Grandpa at the sawmill.
I think
too,
he did work at the sawmill. I'm not sure if he worked on building houses with him or not. Maybe somebody will know and let us know. Also, let us know your memories of Uncle Tom, because there's some out there. There's some amazing stories of Uncle Tom out there.
Right.
Some very funny ones and some really tragic ones. But I miss him. I miss his voice. I miss him trying to roll a cigarette when he was completely intoxicated and not having a good time doing it. But that's Uncle Tom. Uncle Tom, January 2019 is dedicated to you. It's a mission we really love doing every month. The very first thing, birthdays and anniversaries with Miss Judy K.
It's your birthday. Happy birthday. It's your birthday. Happy birthday. It's a great day. That's what we say. Happy birthday to you. It's your birthday. Happy birthday. It's your birthday. Happy birthday. It's a great day.
Hello, and welcome, and thanks for joining me on Restore and Preserve Your Photos. In this series, we'll be jumping right into breathing new life to your old, faded, and damaged family photos. In this series, I'll be using some software. It's a Photoshop replacement software. It's called Affinity Photo. If you want to follow along with me in this series, the links to obtain Affinity Photo will be in the comment section. Like I said, it's a Photoshop replacement. It can do everything Photoshop does and some other really cool things. For $50, you can't go wrong. But first, before we get into it, I want to spend a little time talking about something called color theory. But don't wig out and disown me and unfriend me. It's not that big of a deal. It's pretty simple. For our purposes, when we're talking color theory, we're talking about additive and subtractive color theory. And that's just a bunch of words to say when you're looking at a photograph on your computer screen or your television, that color space is called RGB, which stands for red, blue, and green. If you mix equal amounts of red, blue, and green together, you will get white. Now, when you're ready to print your photograph out on a photo printer, you're dealing with a whole other different color space, which for our purposes we'll consider the opposite. And you're dealing with a color space called CMYK, which stands for cyan, magenta, yellow. The K stands for key, but most people consider it to be black. If you mix equal amounts of all those colors together, you'll get pure black. So that's a nutshell of color theory. If you want more in-depth explanation of it, I'll leave a link below so you can go as deep as you want to down that road. I ain't. Also, we need to talk about when you scan your images in. We have to look at our images as more than just pictures. We need to look at them as historical documents and family heirlooms, because when one person in the photograph dies or passes, that's all we have left. It's just photographic memories. So it's important to preserve those. So when we're scanning, we want to be very careful to make sure our scanner flatbed glass is completely clean of dust and spots. You want to make sure you're scanning at 300 to 600 dpi, and that you save your images out as TIF files. There's a video I did earlier about scanning. I'll leave a link to it below in the description if you want to go check it out. And that's it. Go grab your copy of Affinity Photo, download it. I'll include the photo that I'm going to be working on in the links below. So that's it. Let's get going. Okay, so here we are in Affinity Photo. First step is let's go grab our photograph that we're going to work on. So we'll go to File, Open. This is the one we'll be working on today. As you can tell, there's something definitely wrong with the color here. Our job is to figure out what it is and to fix it. It's really easy. First thing we want to do, and always remember the very first step, is we never want to do anything to the original photograph. So what we're going to do is duplicate this photograph. We'll go over to where it says background image, right click, click duplicate. Okay, now the original image we're going to turn off. We don't even want to see it. We don't want to do anything to it at all. The next step, and to help us understand what we're going to be doing, is we're going to load in a color wheel. And I'll include that in the links too. The CMYK color wheel. Open that. And just take a look at it. Okay, before we talked about the RGB color channels, which are red, blue, and green. Okay, those are the additive color channels. So if we mix equal amounts of green, blue, and red, we'll get white. You get ready to print the photograph out, we're going to be dealing with a completely different color space, which is the CMYK color space. We can think of CMYK as the opposite of red, blue, green. So we have red here, so the opposite for our purposes will be cyan. We have blue here. The opposite on the CMYK channel is yellow, and green, and its opposite will be magenta. And we can fix just about any color issue remembering those 6 things. The opposites of red, blue, green are cyan, magenta, and yellow. I'll include this little color wheel if you want to download it just for reference. But we're not going to need it anymore. We'll go back to our picture and start working. Okay, so the fastest way that I find, and
the way I use probably 95% of the time for a very quick fix that looks awesome is we use a thing called a levels adjustment, just like in Photoshop. And to do that, we'll go over here to the adjustment layer and click that. And the very first one is levels. So we can click that and it'll bring this dialog box up. Now the fastest way to do that, and the way we'll be doing from now on, is with the keyboard shortcut, which is the exact same as it is in Photoshop, which is Control plus L. And what we have here is called the histogram. It gives us a representation of how the colors are laid out in our image. We have the lightest end up here and the dark end down here. And this is the master channel, so this is all three channels layered on top of each other. And we can see we have some issues. We have some huge spikes here. Then we have everything else just kind of falls off. So we're missing some stuff here, and we have way too much here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go in and look at each channel individually, the red, green, and blue channels, and see what's wrong with them. And as we change channels, you'll notice that this image here changes to let us know what that channel actually looks like. So we'll click on the down arrow beside the master and go to the first channel, which is red, and we can see we have a huge spike here. All the color information is at this end of the channel. And this is the red end of the channel, which is represented by the white level here. So you can think of this channel as red. Okay? Now the opposite of red on our color wheel is cyan. So that would be this end, or the black level. Because cyan is opposite of red. So we're missing all this information. So we're going to have to move the black level up to where the information starts to make up for all this loss. So we'll grab this slider, move it up to where the information starts, and you're going to look at it and you're going to say, that is awful. What did I do? I've screwed it up completely. And it is awful. It's god awful. But this is just the first step. We have a long way to go. And this is fine. This is totally fine. So let's go check out the second channel, which is green. Click on green. Okay, remember the white level is this end, which is green. The opposite of green is a magenta, which is this side, which is represented by the black level. And we're missing a whole bunch of magenta here as well. So let's increase the black level to where the information begins. And you can see that's already a very big improvement from what we had. We still have some green up here showing, some cyan green. Let's go check out the red channel, the blue channel. And here it's opposite. We have all this information down here on this end, the black level, which is yellow. This end up here, the blue level, we're missing some information in the highlights, in the very top. So we'll take the white level slider and bring it down to where the information meets to match it up. And boom, look at that difference. To check out before and after, you can turn off your levels adjustment over here, and it will show you what you started with. That's where we started. This is where we're at now, which is awesome. We've done the major correction, and you could leave it at that, but we can go a little bit further and still bring out more color, more of the natural color. You can see there's still some bluish green up here in the ceiling tile. So let's go back. We're on the blue channel. Let's add just maybe a tiny bit of yellow in the black end. And then let's go to green and add maybe just a little bit more magenta there. You see how it's taken that out? It doesn't take a lot, but it really pulled all that out of there. Okay, and let's check our work again. That's where we were. This is where we're at now. And as you can tell here, the whites are all mustardy looking, and the black little electrical plate here is just some kind of funky yellow-green color. But with our correction, that's black. This is pretty much white. Pretty good. But now, you'll notice that our color correction has created some problems too. You see there's some purple, green, blue splotchy areas here that have come out in there. Some dust has showed up, little spots and stuff. Next time on the channel, we're going to fix this stuff with a tool that is so easy to use, you will not believe the things you can do with it. But right now, I'm going to leave this photo right here and call it good. It looks great to me. The flesh tones look good. Skin tones look good. And that's it. That's as hard as it gets. So we'll see you next time on restoring and preserving your photos. Bye.
Today we're starting our basic genealogy. Tips and lessons to learn how to do it. And basically getting started. First of all, you want to prepare. Get a 3-ring notebook or some kind of place to gather your information that you're going to start out with, that you can put it in so you can easily find it and locate it when you need to work on it and research. And then you start gathering information. You always start with yourself. Make a copy of your birth certificate, a copy of your parents' birth certificates, your grandparents, if you have them, or later on you can order them and get a copy of them. Start gathering all the documents on you, like your high school diploma, your things that you did during your lifetime. It could be something that was in the newspaper. It could be a birth announcement in the newspaper, achievement you did, or a float trip you went on, or whatever. Document all that. Make a copy of it. Put it in a notebook. If you get vinyl sleeve protectors, I do that for most of my documents because it costs money to make it and you want to protect them, and it preserves it. Do that with pictures too. Keep them protected. Gather all this information on you and your parents and your siblings, brothers and sisters, your aunts and uncles, and your cousins, and start with that, and then you work backwards. But you always want to start with the person you're working on and work backwards. It's just a lot easier that way. It saves you a lot of time. And if you document all that stuff, put it in a notebook. That way you have access to it and you can work on it whenever you want. And when you need it, you can find it really easy. You don't have to dig through boxes and boxes of information if you've been doing it as long as I have, which is 45 plus years. It's been a long time. Sometimes there's stuff I still haven't found. I'm still looking for it. I know I have it. So you start with gathering, get it in a notebook, and after you start doing that, you start compiling it, and this is a family group sheet. You'll start with your dad and mom, and then your brothers and sisters, and add those in birth order, and start recording their birth dates, their marriage dates, death dates if there is any, and work with that. Do a group sheet for each generation. Do one for your parents, do one for your grandparents on both sides, and then you work back from that, what you know, and that will keep you busy for a little while documenting that. Once you start documenting this, I usually start out in pencil. It's just easier to change it when you make a mistake or the information is wrong. You'll be correcting a lot of stuff after you find better documentation on it. So just work with that. That's a family group sheet. We also have an Ancestor Chart. There's several different kinds, but it's always good to start with one from what you know. Start with yourself, your father, your mother, and work back on your grandparents and your great-grandparents, what you know. And after you've talked to, you know, your aunts, your uncles, your cousins, your grandparents, talk to everybody in your family that you know and interview them, either in person, which is always better, and if you can videotape it, that's even, you ought to do this. Always take the chance, especially seek out the eldest relatives you know. Talk to them and learn what they know, because they won't be around forever. And I was glad I did what I did, and I started as young as I did, because I wouldn't have even half of what I have today without doing that. So interview all them, write that information down, record it if you can, videotape it, record it, however you can is really the best, because you'll need that later. And it will also be a very valuable piece of documentation, which you never can replace. It's irreplaceable. You also want to look at family Bibles, obits, any kind of paperwork that was kept. Go through that. It's really revealing what you can find out, and it gives you clues on where to do research. You know, so there's a lot, and there's several different kinds of charts, and you'll learn to use these later on. They've got a research checklist that tells you all the records to check when you're first starting out, like birth certificates, death certificates, land records, probate records, wills, military records, school records, church records. The list goes on and on and on. Organization records. They could be a mason, or they could work for the railroad. You know, there's records in those fields too, so you want to check for all that information. It gives you a guideline on what to look for, and there's a lot, and you'll learn stuff as you go. Everybody does, and you keep learning, because there's so much to learn. This is a research log sheet that shows you write down when you research for it, and what you researched on, what you've looked through, and if you found anything. And this is a good guide to keep you, so you don't keep doing the same research. You keep looking for more places to look for, and so you'll find the information you need, and you won't backtrack, because backtracking's not fun. I did it a lot of times, and this really saves you a lot of time and helps you find the information you want quicker. They have an individual worksheet that's really cool, and I usually work on the family group first, and then later on I go into the individual, and we'll post all the research I have on that individual and expand it out and do more research to make it more revealing, where they lived in certain years, what they did, any stories or things I have known from them personally or have found out through research. So that's something you learn when you get a little bit more advanced. And then you start after you get all that you've done on your basic family that you can gather, you want to organize it. And a 3-ring notebook is a really good thing to start it in. And I usually start it in one, and when it gets full, I'll break it into different notebooks, or you can start with whatever surname you were born with, your father's name. Start a notebook for that. Start a notebook for your mother's side, and put the information in that, and then you start filling it in. I put dividers in the notebook after it starts filling up, so I can sort through it quicker. Say if I have several different families in one notebook that I've just started out, I'll put the surnames there, and then I'll break it down in the family groups. I'll start with the oldest known ancestor and break it down. I usually go my direct line so I can find it easy, and then when I get more information, I'll update it and add more tabs to divide it even further so that I can find the person pretty quick when I'm working on it. And I take my notebooks with me if I'm working on a particular family, or say a family reunion, or I'm going to interview somebody. I take what I have so they can see it. I have a lot of it in the computer, so usually if I do try to go visit somebody and interview them, I try to print something out so they have something to see that I give them to help them, see what our family stuff is, so that they can look over and add info to it later. And it's kind of a nice gift to give to them when you're talking to somebody about family and learning about them, because you'll learn something from everybody. So that's something else. After you get it organized in a notebook, then you can start research, which is the fun part. We're going to wrap this up pretty quick, and we'll come back at a later date and talk some more.
Okay, we are very excited and proud to present something brand new to Family History Project, something we've thought about for a long time. Family reunions are kind of going away for a lot of families. Most people don't have the time, the money to travel long distance. However, we still need to stay connected with our family. So Michael and I have come up with something we're calling the Family History Project event. Every month we'll have at least one event open to everybody to participate in, so we can get together, get to know each other again, create new family history. The event for January 2019, I am proud to present, is...
It's karaoke at the VFW.
Karaoke! Who doesn't like karaoke? Come and sing with us! Where's it going to be?
It's going to be at the VFW in Sugar Creek on Kentucky.
What kind of... do they have all kinds of different music?
They have every genre of music, country, rock, pop.
Cool. That would be fun.
They've got standards. They've got everything.
And how much does it cost?
It's free.
Which,
it doesn't cost
by the
anything.
way, every event we schedule will be something that's completely free. Some of them you may have to register for. But yeah, there's no cost to come in. There's no cover charge. Some of them will even include food that we don't have to make. Do they do food on?
They do food for karaoke.
And it's on a Saturday, right?
It's on Saturday from 7 to 11 p.m. It's every Saturday night. They have it there.
But our night will be on the 26th of January. Will be karaoke with the Family History Project. Please come out and hang with us and sing. Next month will be something completely different. So you want to grab this while you can.
We want to know, what do you want to learn from your DNA? You want to learn your...
Everybody's doing DNA tests now. What we're interested in is, what is it about your family history that you really want to know the most? Your ethnicity, where you came from, where your parents came from, where your grandparents came from. What do you really, really want to know? And the first person who responds with the best answer, according to Michael and I, will win, completely free, no strings attached,
A DNA test.
an Ancestry DNA test. Just for you, so we can find out what it is you want to know. And we'll be doing that. We'll be having prizes every month. We'll have a game, we'll have puzzle, we'll have something, and we'll have something to give you. So that's it for January's Family History Project magazine. It was fun, very cool. Next month will be a whole new month, Valentine's Day. It'll be the month for lovers, or those we love. So thanks for watching. Stay tuned. We're always changing. There will always be something different here. Please send us your ideas. Like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. That will let us know what it is you want. And we're Family History Project. We talk about everybody. We research everybody. So sooner or later, we're going to get about talking about you. So you might as well participate, because what we don't know, we research.
We find out.
Thank you. Bye.